Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Progress with number 59 in the series Viewers Games. This one is from Egypt, from Ieya. And I'm really not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but that's the best I can do, Ieya. He played black in a game that was played on Lichess. It was a 15-minute game, so 15 minutes for both players for the whole game, no increment. And he was playing somebody with the handle Arthur129. Arthur had a rating of 1769 and Ieya had a rating of 1852, but that was a provisional rating, which means that Ieya at the time the game was played had not played enough games yet to have a permanent rating. Let's have a look at the game. e4 was played by Arthur and Ieya played c5. In his email he said, "Hello sir, I really like your videos. This is my game. If you can analyze it, I will be happy." That's what Ieya said when he wrote his email to me with this game. He played the Sicilian, knight f3 from white, d6, and now the main move here is d2, d4, the open Sicilian, but white Arthur129 plays a sideline, a very rare sideline, e5. Not necessarily a bad move. I've seen in the database that it was played by some very strong players, but it's a very rare move, e5 on the third move. Ieya develops and now attacks that pawn with pawn and knight. It's only defended by the knight, so white has to be careful, doesn't want to lose a pawn. White took on d6 and Ieya took back with the pawn. Bishop b5, pinning the knight. Ieya deals with that with bishop d7. And white immediately takes on c6, gives up the bishop pair, voluntarily. Bishop takes and d4. Ieya develops knight f6, white castles, bishop e7 developing, bishop g5, and now Ieya castled. And white decides to give up the other bishop as well for a knight. Bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, so now we have a battle of the bishop pair against the knight pair. But we don't get very far in this battle because white makes a mistake here. He plays d5. Attacking the bishop, but this is a very strong threat. Bishop takes b2, especially because this rook will get lost in the corner. And the tactics favor black. Bishop takes b2 is a good move, but Ieya found the nice move, bishop b5. And now there's two threats, threatening to take on f1 and on b2. This is already very, very good for black. Let's have a look at one variation. If Ieya would have taken on b2, then d takes c6, bishop takes a1, c takes b7 hitting the rook, rook b8, and then for example knight a3, attacking the bishop, bishop back to f6, and this is very good for black. Black has just one material. He's an exchange up, and this pawn on b7 is not a dangerous pawn at all. Back to the game, d5 was played and then bishop b5 from Ieya. As said, now with two threats in the position, bishop takes b2 and bishop takes f1. It shows the power of the bishops already. They are long-range pieces. Knight c3 was played by white, attacking the bishop, but that bishop took on f1, winning an exchange. King takes, rook e8, rooks like to be on open files. Queen d3, queen d7, connecting the rooks. Knight e4, hitting the bishop, but that move leaves the b2 pawn hanging. And Ieya takes it. You should never take a pawn on b2, not even if it's a good move, but this is an exception. In this case, it is a good move. The pawn on b7 is protected, so after rook b1, the bishop just goes back in this case it goes back to e5. And white cannot take on b7, it's protected by the queen. Knight eg5 from white, and there is a threat. Queen takes, h7 is a threat, it's not checkmate yet, but it's very dangerous. So Ilya plays g6 to deal with that threat. Knight back to d2, bishop g7 from Ilya, knight e4, rook e7. Ilya is preparing to double the rooks on the e-file. Rook e1 opposing black's rook, rook ae8 and rook e3. That is white's idea. He wants to attack on the king side, maybe maneuvers with rook h3, trying to get the queen over and trying to checkmate black. That's really white's only chance. He's material down, he has to play for an attack with his 4 pieces. But he doesn't get very far. h6, Ilya just kicks the knight back. Knight goes to h3 and Ilya plays b5. Knight f4, rerouting that knight. And c4, hitting the queen. And you have to be careful because this knight is attacked twice, attacked by both rooks. It's defended by rook and queen, but because the queen is attacked, you have to make sure you go to a square where you still protect that knight. And that can be done on e2. White didn't play that. This is also very bad for white anyway, because here bishop d4 is possible. Very nice move. Hitting the rook, and if the rook goes, this knight will fall because of the doubled rooks from Ilya. After c4, the queen went back to d1, just giving up that knight straight away. Ilya said, "Thank you very much for the knight, I'm taking it." Rook takes, and now Ilya is a full rook up. Queen d2, queen e7, f3 hitting the rook. Rook steps aside, attacks the queen. The rook is protected by the bishop. Queen back to c1 and c3. Knight e2 hitting the rook, and Ilya just takes another pawn. White made a very bad move here. He's totally lost. He probably lost his interest in this game. He took the pawn on c3, completely overseeing that that pawn was protected. And Ilya took it. Is now a rook and a piece up. White took on h6, but a queen cannot do a lot of damage to this king by herself, and she has nobody to help her. Ilya played bishop g7. Can you see what would have been a very good move instead of bishop g7? Not that it would have changed the outcome of the game. Black is of course completely winning, but here Ilya could have finished the game on the spot with checkmate in 1. Queen e1 is checkmate. The queen is protected by the bishop. But bishop g7 was played, kicking the queen, and white really had enough of this game. Gave a spy check by taking the bishop, and after king takes, Archer 129 resigned this game. Good win from Ilya, well done. But I must say, if I'm totally honest, that it was not a very exciting game. You played very well, Ilya, but white did not put up a lot of resistance, just blundered material. First an exchange, then a piece, and then another piece. Not a game that you can learn a lot from, or that the viewers of Chess to Progress can learn a lot from. But still, thank you very much for sending me this game. I said I would analyze a game of every viewer who would send me a game, so you have to keep your promises. And this was your game, Ilya. Well done. Good win. The game was not very exciting, but I still hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to the Chess to Progress channel. Please leave a comment, I will read them all and I will reply to them all. You also may want to check out my main channel, which is called Chess to Impress. The link is in the description box. This is Rick for Chess to Progress. Thank you for watching.